Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Pod of War podcast. I'm your very tired host, EOF Gizmo, joined by Massive Dash Chris Pinkelly.
Hello everyone.
And of course, Xbox Live's very own CW Lanky.
Hello.
How are we doing today, boys?
Not bad, not bad.
Good. It's been a while. It's been like 3 weeks, I think.
I think it's been at least 2 weeks.
I let you guys run wild last week.
And run wild we did.
There was like God knows how many pickups. There's lots of talks of Japanese games.
Japanese games are the best.
One of our most watched and impressioned episodes, Craig, as well. So I hate to break this to you. PlayStation's back, baby. But anyway. Yes, Craig's back this week, so he's going to have so many things to tell us about video games he's been playing. So we'll get to Craig very shortly. So we'll do what we always do. We're going to start with pickups and play. So we're going to be unconventional here, and I'm going to start off because I need to just pass out, and I'm sure Chris will get me there. So I think since the last episode, including the PlayStation episode, the only physical pickup I have, because I don't think I had it by then, was, of course, Far Cry 6.
No, you didn't. I think you just bought Kingdom Hearts or something on PS4 last episode.
You are correct. But yeah, Far Cry 6 for the PS5, because that's my physical games console. I've played about 5 hours so far. I'm really enjoying it. I haven't played Far Cry since 3, really, to be honest with you. So this is kind of like a whole sort of fresh experience for me. It's very good. It's very funny. The setting's really interesting. The weapons are just fun. There's some really fun weapons. The sidekicks are really fun as well. And the whole Ubisoft loop of going to a place, clearing a place, etc., is fun in this. So if you like Far Cry, I would imagine you would like Far Cry 6. But I think I'm the only one that's bought it so far, right? I think so.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, but yeah, I'm enjoying that. The only other pickup I have, of course, and it's not physical unless I could pick my laptop up, is this year's Game of the Year, and that is Football Manager 22. So I'm in the beta.
I was going to say, I didn't think it was out to midnight.
No, I bought it on Steam, so I've got the beta, don't you worry. So
it's not on Game Pass.
It's coming to Game Pass, but that is too late for my week off, Craig. So unfortunately,
I see.
Your boys had to go and buy it. So
is it not on Game Pass Day 1? I thought it was.
So
it's
on
like
Game
an early access thing you've got.
I'm on early access, yeah. I needed
see.
it now, Craig. And it's very good. I played about 9 hours last night. No shame. Top of the league, with Gate said.
Football Manager session.
Yeah, very short one. There'll be another short one tonight, I suspect. But Football Manager's great. It's best one they've ever done. Don't really know what to tell you. It's probably got my game of the year already, 10 out of 10. Newcastle are hilarious on it. That's all you need to know. They are absolutely hilarious. I think they start with 200 million to spend. It's just funny. So yeah, so that's my.
I like talk to you like elsewhere, like the weekend. I've been like seen like a what do you call it? Where they like simmed 5 seasons of like Newcastle, and like they spent I think 1.8 billion in 5 seasons and finished 5th once. But it'd be kind of like interesting to play them and like how long it would take to win the league with them, because you have got a ridiculous budget, but trying to attract players and stuff like that. So
I would be amazed if in this beta, like I'm sure that Miles will put the statistic out, but I think it's something like 80% of people are playing as Newcastle, because no one wants to do their main saves, and it's obviously it's one of those teams where you're like, oh, I've got limitless budget and it's like quite an easy achievement. Like you just have to I think you have to finish top half. And you've got 200 million in each window, including the summer window. So it's like, if you're new to Football Manager, it's ironically quite a good team to be, because you're just going to be sat there with like, oh, I'll buy Declan Rice. Like, it's 80 million. I'll buy Mbappe. That's 100 million. Like, you know what I mean? So fun times all around. And Sega yet again bringing the best games as they always do. Yeah. So now that my short session is over, we're going to leave Pengy for last.
Okay.
We want to get people in first, you know what I mean? Once they're comfortable, then bam, 45 minutes of you talking about stuff you bought. So, Craig, what have you been buying and playing in the last 2 to 3 weeks?
So buying nothing, so that's a nice and easy one there. It's nice and short. Playing, I think last time I was on, I started Dodgeball Academia. I spoke a little bit about what it was. I've now finished Dodgeball Academia. It's a decent game. I can even see it on here. I've got a 3.5 on True Achievements. There you go. Some live scores from me. It's quite fun. It does have some absolutely brutal difficulty spikes in it, though. basically the way game works, you play your dodgeball matches, and all your characters and all the opposing characters have like special abilities that they can do. So it might be that, I don't know, they can throw more than one ball at once, or throw balls that speed up and then slow down and then speed up again, something like that. But some of the abilities that some of the like your enemies have are just mental, to the point where you just sat there, you're like, I don't know what I'm going to be doing. I don't know what buttons I should be pressing. So yeah, it does have the odd match in it, which is just like mind-blowingly hard. But other than that, it's good fun. So I finished that. Then the next game I played was Marvel's Avengers on Game Pass, which is a experience. So I enjoyed it, I will say, but I tried to avoid as much as the loot and the kind of games as a service as I possibly could, because that was made zero sense to me. Um, the actual gameplay itself is really fun. I actually quite like the story, and like the voice acting is all really good, and even the graphics are really good as well. Especially at the start, I thought when you do like the canyon levels and you do the city levels in New York or New Jersey, wherever it is, um, they're all really good. And then like after like a quarter of the game, it starts opening up to this like, oh, now you can get loot, and there's like 5 different types of loot, but none of it actually means anything. It's literally just numbers on a screen. Like you'd be like, oh, I've got some new gloves, and you put them on, and you're like, oh, I don't actually see the new gloves. It's just literally some numbers, and you're like, why is this in the game? Why does this need to be a thing? This could have not existed very easily. Especially when it's mainly a single player game. It makes no sense to me at all. I don't know how much money they made from like people buying the cosmetics and that, but I cannot imagine a lot of people like dipped into it for like a single player game. I can kind of get it on things like Destiny, but this I just didn't understand why that was on there at all. Um, so yeah, the actual game's fun, but the nonsense to the side of it is just mind-blowingly weird. I don't know why it exists. I know you both played that. I don't know if you had similar experiences.
Yeah, similar. Like, I know I only played like the single player campaign. I started a bit of Cape Bishop's thing because that only just come out. I think when we
Was
played
that
it,
the first DLC?
or it might have been or the second one might have been out by then. There was definitely I started that, so I think, but yeah, I never really touched the multiplayer side of it where those loot boxy type elements and the pickup and grindy stuff come into it. But it's like a fun single player game. It wasn't, it wasn't bad. They should really like the game. I think mostly kind of flopped for Square. I think if they leaned into more of the action adventure single player side of it, I think it might have done better because you see how well the Spider-Man games do on PlayStation. Like I think they somehow totally missed it. Maybe Guardians Galaxy they will figure that out and it does much better. Who knows?
I had a realization about halfway through this game that this should have basically been a Lego game. It should have looked like it did, but it should just been a Lego game where you have like a party of people with you. They all have special abilities. You can switch to them on the fly to get into a certain area.
So
That would have been awesome.
So many Lego Marvel games.
Well, not even that. They there was a Marvel game on Switch. Was it Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3 that came out like the year before? That's basically the same game but a bit more cartoony and no like leveling and stuff really. Or it's not like looty. And it's just a fun game. You just like 60 characters. You play as Deadpool and you play as fucking, I don't know, Wolverine, and you just beat the crap into people. But yeah, I don't know. I found it pretty boring after about 4 hours. I was like, okay, I'll hit some robots, I guess. And that was that.
It doesn't help that the enemy design is just dull as dish. Like beating up robots is not the most exciting thing to be doing.
No, and there's so many other games as well. I think that's its biggest crime. I think just so many other games. I'm sure we'll talk about later on. We talk about backlogs and stuff like. If it's a good get for Game Pass. If it launched on Game Pass, maybe it'd be a different story. But yeah, nice.
It's cool that all like DLC. I don't know if it's free for everyone or if it's just in game. It's free for everyone.
Yeah.
It's a shame there's no achievements for any of the DLC as well, though. Because that would have. Yeah, I would have been tempted to actually play more of it and do the DLC.
I started Cape Bishop and I got some like the weird achievements like you've leveled up 5 characters or whatever, those sort of achievements through it. But if they had DLC for achievements for DLC, especially if it's free, you're not going to separate like the lists or whatever. I might stuck with it more because I expect the Black Panther one's good, but yeah.
Yeah, moving on. Oh god, I just kicked my stand.
Nice.
Next, I played some Back for Blood, which obviously also launched straight to Game Pass day one. This is ridiculously fun. I playing mainly with randoms, but I did play a little bit with Simon the other night. But even with randoms, it's actually quite fun and quite entertaining to play. I didn't play much of the Left 4 Dead games back in the day, so this is kind of like a new experience for me. So I don't know if that's maybe why I'm enjoying it so much, but it is a lot of dumb fun. I don't know if I'd say it's OP, but the melee and the melee builds in this game are stupidly fun and quite powerful. So I started off thinking I'd be like, mainly running around shooting things. Actually, I'm mainly just switching to a melee weapon and just annihilating zombies, just swinging away with a spiked baseball bat or a machete or something like that, which is silly fun. It has a card system in it, which basically your cards give you perks. It's a little bit confusing to start with. I didn't really get it. A lot of the lobbies that I was in to start with playing with randoms, it's basically just people in headsets moaning that they didn't really understand what the cards were. Once you've kind of figured out what it is, it's actually quite simple. But getting there is a little bit of a, what's going on. I think it's mainly because it tries to explain it to you in like videos at the start, and you watch a couple of videos and you're like, oh, I'm bored of these videos now. I just want to like go and shoot zombies. So you get to the point where you're shooting zombies, you're like, oh god, what am I going to be doing? But yeah, the card system's good. Mine is completely built around melee now. All my cards are basically melee cards, so I just run in, swing, and get health back, and swing faster, and have more stamina and that sort of thing. So yeah, I've been playing that. I've done Act 1 on it. I think there's 4 acts. Annoyingly, my achievement for finishing Act 1 didn't pop there, so I'm going to have to go back and play through Act 1 at some point. But that's fine because it is so fun. I probably, as soon as we finish this tonight, jump on and play a bit more of that because I'm really enjoying some Back 4 Blood. And then the only other thing I've been playing is Scarlet Nexus, which joined Game Pass the same time as Avengers, I believe. I am about...
They did Tokyo Game Show Xbox's conference.
There you go. I'm about 9 hours in so far. I'm playing as the boy, not the girl, to start with, because I googled it and apparently that's the better one to start with. Oh, my cat's moving around. It's really good so far. Combat's really flashy, really fluid, very anime in terms of the way it looks, but it does look pretty on the Series X. It is like crystal smooth, and then like frame rate issues or any bugs or anything like that. Haven't seen any options for like different modes yet. So I think there's just one like gameplay mode on the series. I don't think there's like a graphics mode or a frame rate mode or anything like that. I think you just get the best of everything to start with. Like I said, really good fun. About 9 hours in. I think I'm about halfway through the first of the campaigns. I think that's kind of where I am. Story seems quite good. It does break it up into quite a lot of cutscenes. There's quite a lot of just sitting there and watching cutscenes in this game. So I will warn you that if that's not something you like, then you probably look like this. I know Pengals is probably like, cutscenes gets him excited. I know. Not that he's ever going to play this, even though he bought it. But that's pretty much it from me. So this week will be a lot more Scarlet Nexus and some more Back 4 Blood, I expect.
Nice. A nice varied couple of weeks from now. Krego. Right then, let's get to it. Pengy, what have you bought? What have you been playing?
Well, what I've been playing isn't actually that much. It's if you watched the PlayStation episode, one of my pickups was Alan Wake Remastered, and I think it just came when we did that episode. I've now finished it, so all the main game and both DLCs of it, and that narratively, it still holds up really well. The story's really good. Graphics, like the update, like we've just seen the GTA trailer, and that is like similar, like jump to that. You can tell it's an older game, like not a PS5 game or whatever. But looks, decent enough. Gameplay, it's definitely aged a bit, like the shooting mechanics and that, and some of the game design. Like you got all your different episodes, and they feel like 6 levels, and they're very linear. path. You've got a few like bits where you can drive around in cars and that, but it does feel really linear in that sense. And a few things like animations and stuff of Alan when you're like climbing over things and that do look a bit odd, and it's like you can tell where the games have moved on with that. But yeah, it's still decent enough, especially since it's 25 quid for like a remaster. It's not no too bad at all. So that was one. He came last week and I didn't actually show it as a pickup because obviously it's a PlayStation episode, but that was Metroid Dread. I think I want to say about 6 hours in for 5 of the 7 Emmys of it. It's really good. Like, I've played other Metroid games, never really been a fan, which is weird because the Metroidvania genre. I do like Symphony of the Night and Rondo of Blood from the Castlevania size and Ori and that on Xbox. I've never been a huge fan of Metroid. It is fantastic. It could turn out, the last couple of hours could end up being awful and totally sour my experience of it. But so far, it's one of my favorite games of the year. It's really, it's really good. So it's what I'm mainly playing at the moment and want to, finish next. And one other thing I've played and should be a video going up at some point of it that Davey has got. That's some Riders Republic, the 4-hour trial. I played it on Stadia because I didn't have to download the demo.
That's a decision. Because it carries over, doesn't it? Your progress.
Carries over.
Yeah.
I could jump right in, obviously, to the game as well. So I didn't have to, like I said, didn't have to download the demo, jump right in. This 4-hour trial, like when the 4 hours was up, it just cuts out. Like I was like in between, I was in a race. It just that was it. 4 hours, that's you done, and sort of thing. And I only really
like the idea of it having a countdown. That would have been amazing if
that's called a countdown in the top of it, like your 4 hours, and it's like let me finish the race now. And I really I played all 4 hours, but I actually really like 3.5 hours contents because I had to do the start twice. The start's a bit like how Forza starts. You transition from like all the different types of not vehicles in this case, your bike, your snowboard, your skis, your aerial, and it's like this cool like cutscenes and gets like the party started in the ridge as it's called in this. Messed up slightly, and I don't know if that's one because I don't know if that's because it was on Stadia and the cloud messed up on the thing, or because when you started, it goes, "This is a pre-release build. You may find bugs, glitches, blah 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 blah." So after we done that, played like the whole 3.5 hours of trial, really good. It is very Forza Horizon in it. Just instead of having, this is 4x4s on like a grass circuit or whatever, or point-to-point drag, replace them with a bike, a snowboard, or a ski sort of thing, and you do stuff. Even if you come last, you still get like, you've done this event, here's a star, and there's like bonus stuff in. If you like finish first, you get more stars. If you've done, cool, you've done a 720 Superman thing, great, you've done that bonus trick, you get a star, and it's all about building like your rep, and if you've got the different things. And you got like, you've got so and so with downhill biking. You got the Red Bull event where you're all dressed as giraffes instead, and it's things like that. And it has like in Forza Horizon, you got like the Forza Live thing, and everyone joins together and does that. Has that in there. It's like mass races starting. You'll do that, and I think the one I did, everyone was on like delivery bikes and they'd deliver pizza and that on like checkpoints. It's a really, it's a fun, silly game. The problem is, I'm comparing it to Forza Horizon. Forza Horizon is literally like the week after of it. So, I know cars, bikes, it is different. And obviously Forza's not on PlayStation, Stadia, PC. Actually it is on PC.
You're damn right it's on PC.
Yeah, I guess that's the thing. But, guess you want that experience and you're on Luna, Stadia, or PlayStation, Riders Republic would be quite similar to it.
When was this originally meant to come out? Because it did get delayed.
February.
Yeah, see, if it had come out closer to that, it would have been ideal, wouldn't it? But like you say, being so close to Forza sucks for it.
Yeah, so
It is a
Pretty-
genius like marketing move for them to do that 4-hour trial that like your save carries over. Like that is very smart for that game.
Yeah,
And it
so
does make you
then,
wonder why more people don't do that because that really I'd imagine that will hook a lot of people in.
yeah, and there seems to be like when we did the mass race, 32 people were in it. Crossplay is enabled, and you can crossplay with like your friends and stuff. So if I was to continue playing on Stadia, you both played it on Xbox, or Dave bought it on PlayStation because of physical. We can play together. And there seem to be plenty of people playing it. Yeah, so it's pretty fun.
I've got a behind the scenes question, Chris.
Yeah.
So that footage you sent me, has
Yeah.
it got licensed music in it?
No, I turned it off.
Okay, good boy.
And
Then
the
it
game-
will indeed make it to the video, make it to the channel at some point.
Yeah. And then obviously when I unstream, I put the music on. It has the stations a bit like Forza, and they do
Good.
different stuff. And the one I listened to had like Offspring and Green Day and
'Cause
stuff like that.
Running a
on it.
YouTube channel and uploading licensed music is such a nightmare now. Anyway,
Yeah,
back away from behind the scenes, back to the front of the scenes now.
Yeah,
Carry on.
So that's pretty good. So that's all I've been playing, and then I've got a few pickups.
Oh, here we go.
Yeah, so originally this is only 2, but so I start with the 2 it's really good. So we have a Death Stranding original soundtrack Volume 1 on vinyl.
Volume 1. That implies there's going to be more. That's exciting.
Yeah, there's actually Death Stranding on vinyl. There's only 3.
Only 3?
I have 2 of them, but the game has 5 like soundtracks.
Where are the other 2? Where are the other 2?
Well, the one's thing just come out because the director's cut, and obviously you can open it up. 3 vinyls in it. So yeah, I've got that. So that's one of the pickups. So
That's never getting listened to.
yeah, so yeah, and the other one that you guys going to see of the 2 was House of Ashes on PS5.
Okay. That's
Yeah,
the third game in the series, right?
Yes. Yeah, that's the 3rd game, which came yesterday. So
hopefully I'll have some thoughts on that at some point.
yeah. So
Oh, Dave, exciting news for you. The Death Stranding soundtrack is on Spotify, so you can.
Oh,
listen to that on
I
your
don't have
works-
to. I don't have to buy a
when you walk
vinyl.
to
Is
work.
that what you're saying?
Yeah. No. So I'll be all over that, Pengy, and give you some feedback on that. I'm sure.
excellent. You can listen to all of them.
Too old for this.
Yeah, and then I went to town today and went into the new game shop in town. I picked up a few things. I spent on games £9. So
I like that you specified games. I'm guessing you bought toys and stuff as well, did you?
I got the historically accurate Genji.
Say that again, Chris. Sorry, the what?
He was trying to say historically accurate as a joke
Yeah.
to Genji
Oh.
Days of the Blade.
Dave gets it.
I do. So I'll explain Genji Days of the Blade to Craig.
You're gonna have to.
So when they announced the PlayStation 3, I think it was the year before they released it, they did a big live show. It was one of those. It's one of the ones that Digital Foundry have watched, and it's hilarious because it's like awful. And they were like, "Oh, it's this historically accurate game." And then you fight this giant enemy crab, and it's just awful. It's like a really bad beat 'em up from like it was a launch PS3 game. Yeah, you have to hit its weak spot for massive damage. And it's like, well, you just said it was historically accurate. But yeah, it wasn't a very good game. The original PS2 game was quite fun, but yes, the sequel was terrible. But Chris has bought it now, so that's good. You can play that. No trophies, obviously, so that's just a coaster at this point.
Resistance Fall of Man.
Are you buying the PS3 launch lineup, Chris? Is this what you're about to tell us?
No. Resistance 2.
Have you played these before? I mean, what's
Fall of Man I have played and finished because it was
Have
a
you
PS3
not played
launch
2?
game.
Because 2's good.
I've never played 2
Sake,
or 3.
Chris. 2, Craig would have really liked because it had this ridiculously good 64-player like semi PvE PvP multiplayer. For some reason, it was really fun. We played it at uni like tons. But yeah, PlayStation exclusives.
Then I got sticking on PlayStation train Eternal Quest on the PS2.
The fuck is that?
No, it's an RPG on the PS2.
Like a Japanese RPG, a Western
Yeah,
RPG?
Japanese RPG.
Okay, I've never heard of it, Craig, so that should tell you everything you need to know.
And I picked up Metroid Prime 3.
Oh, there you go. That's a game I've played.
Yeah.
Bit pointless
Weirdly-
because that's going to come to Switch very soon, right?
Yeah. So I got those games.
Are
was
you
really
going to play any of them?
Most really not.
Fair enough. At least you're honest.
Not even Metroid? Is you on a Metroid buzz, or is that literally just
No,
for
because
show?
I'll start with Prime 1 again, and I wasn't. a fan
Which you
of
didn't, yeah, which you
controls.
didn't like when we played it a
No.
couple of years ago, or which I have on video on the channel.
Yeah.
Eternal Quest has a 2.7 out of 5 according to Amazon UK.
I've never heard of it. So
That's all the information I can find.
brilliant.
I really wanted to pick up a PS1 game because we on the PlayStation podcast, like, oh, you got no PlayStation 1 games, but yeah, they didn't have much PS1.
No, I can't imagine they would.
The only thing that took me interest on PS1 Parasite Eve 2, but it's 40 quid, so.
PS1 games are at that point now where one, they're very nostalgic, so they're expensive, and two, the dual cases were notoriously easy to break. So finding a complete in-box PS1 game that ironically isn't Final Fantasy is actually very difficult. Final Fantasy is actually very easy to get hold of because they made so many copies of it.
They had like a good few. They had like a good 30 games. It was just mainly like sports and
Yeah. Your
something
Chris
like-
Kamara Street Soccer, by the way, which is a real game.
and like the only couple higher tier games were like I said, Parasite Eve 2 for 40 quid, which I passed on. I did get one other thing because remember I specified games and I set 9 quid on games. I got and built today. While I was watching the kind of funny Metal Gear Solid 3 spoiler cast, after we got today, I built a Batmobile, a Lego Batmobile,
How much did that cost you, Chris?
35 quid. I've built my Batmobile.
You going to play with
To
it?
be fair, for Chris, he's actually built it. That's a good investment. That's a better investment than 90% of the video
Yeah,
games.
it's better investment than those £9 of games that he's just bought to sit on a shelf. Well, I say sit on a shelf to go in a drawer. So that's fair play to you, Chris. Well done, mate. Well done.
Yeah.
Is that everything?
That is everything.
Wow, that's only taken 6 hours. Not bad, Chris. So, that is what we've been playing. So, hopefully, we won't have too many breaks in between the schedules for these big catch-ups. Speaking of catch-ups, before we start into this, so the main topic is going to be sort of backloggery shenanigans, which is always fun because Craig doesn't have a backlog and mine and Chris's are huge. So, it's always interesting. We're going to talk about our fantasy leagues. Let's get that up. There we go. Let's get that out. I've just got to switch screens now, boys. So we're nearing the end game now, if you remember, if you've been keeping up with the fantasy game. So we'll see where we are right now. So right now, as we sit here today, Chris Pengelly is on 107 points. Big Gay Craig is on 144 points. And your boy is on 99 points. So that sounds a lot more even, I think, with me and Chris than it probably is. And it sounds like Craig has basically run away. But if you look here, you'll see that Big Craig has got Silksong left. And I don't think that's coming this year. Do you, Craig?
No, and the issue is with Silksong is they haven't put out any information about it coming next year or being delayed or anything like that. Hence why I cannot drop it at the moment. So it's just sitting there holding up a spot. Which is a bit of a pain in the ass.
Yeah, and your other game is... What's the other game? It's Crossfire
X, which is a shenanigan.
It's a blessing in disguise, I think, because if that comes out, I think you lose points.
Yeah, probably.
Pengy, on the other hand, has got Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl, which I can't believe they've let, because it's literally a remake. Like, I swear.
You're allowed remakes, though.
Yeah, but it's fundamentally the same. It's fundamentally the same game. That's why I don't get that either, because it's like. But anyway, I don't run the website. Thanks to the guy that does. Shin Megami Tensei 5, which I'm actually a little bit worried about. I don't think that game's had any hype at all. It's coming out fairly soon. And then the big one for Chris is Battlefield 2042. That is going to review badly. So
if it comes out at all, if
it comes out before the end of the year. So and then
because that has been getting shit on repeatedly.
Yeah, and I enjoyed what I played of it. It's so buggy, I'd be amazed. And it's obviously only multiplayer, right? So that's just asking for a bad review. Obviously Chris's counter pick is Solar Ash, which I think is going to do well if it comes out. Obviously that's one of mine. So I'm a bit of enigma really, because I've got Solar Ash, which you would think would do okay if it comes out. Forza Horizon 5, which I would imagine will be the best score I get all year. Halo, who knows, and Age of Empires 4, which I would imagine would be a pretty bang on score. So I think realistically Craig has probably still won this, but I think me and Chris.
I don't know. I think it's going to be really tight.
We need Halo to be very good for you not to win it. I think that's the only option. Like Halo needs to come out and be like 90 for really us to stand a chance.
I don't know, because obviously I've counterpicked Halo anyway, so even if it's 80, I lose 10 points and you gain 10 points. That's it's 20 point swing for you, Dave. I think it comes down to basically because Horizon 5 is going to review ridiculously well and get you loads of points no matter what.
Yeah.
I think it's literally going to come down to Halo, and if I can drop Hollow Knight, I think that's basically where we're going to end up to.
Yeah.
Hopefully it does go to literally the last game of the year, because that would be quite exciting.
It'd be pretty fun if it was literally Halo. Like it's like it would be right.
At the moment, the last game is Halo on the 8th of December.
I love that on the upcoming games they've gone full banter and started including stuff that's coming out next year. So it says Elden Ring just to tease Chris, and Ring 5 just to tease him coming next year.
No, poor Panky.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the Fantasy League. So it's hotting up. It was for a first year's attempt. It's not too bad. I think next year's will be a lot better because I think we know what we're doing a bit more now. Maybe spread out the picks.
I think there's some lessons that we've probably learned, like not using one of our picks by February is probably a good idea.
And obviously this year
being a bit braver in the draft as well.
And this year's been the year of delays. So it's there's a lot already. The first 6 months next year is full of big titles. So I think.
Yeah, and when we did it, me and Dave afterwards, I got Breath of the Wild, Dave got God of War, where we really should have drafted them in the first place, and then could have dropped them instead of going, oh wait, Zelda's still available, let's go for it.
Yeah, it's a lesson learned, isn't it? So
I think the draft next year is going to be mental because, like you say, there's so many big games announced for next year. Like we could be out down to our 5th and 6th picks and still drafting massive games that are going to review really well. Whereas I think by then. This year's one, we were already struggling to come up with things.
I don't think you'll be having Crossfire X's and stuff like that on the next year. So, and I won't be picking indie games because.
That's one of the things I've probly learned is that indie games they get delayed and they're so hard to predict as well.
I was gonna say, indies are weird because, you look at mine, Loop Hero indie, got me 15 points. But Maquette, also an indie by Annapurna, probably got me 2. So.
I think we've all probably learned as well, just picking Annapurna games because they're Annapurna games probably isn't the best idea as well.
They publish a lot now, right? So
yeah.
But there we go. That's the Fantasy Critic. We'll get near the end of that fairly soon.
We've got what's the next games coming up? You've got Age of Empires, which is literally. 4 or 5 days ago?
It's our big friend Game Pass. That's basically what's the next month or so, I think.
Yeah. Age of Empires and Forza Horizon. So I think you're going to close that gap on me.
Bear in mind as well, so it's not on that list, but Football Manager 22 is also coming to Game Pass within that window. That is a ridiculous $10.99 for a month.
Yeah.
That's to keep killing it. So before we wax lyrical about Game Pass a bit more, we do need to do an Xbox episode at some point to catch up to counteract the evil that was the PlayStation episode. So we'll get to that at some point. But we're going to talk very briefly about backlogs and front logs and all this kind of shenanigans that Chris put in our chat, and just see what we're playing. And it's always difficult to talk about this, especially with Craig, because Craig is very efficient and just kind of plays a game, finishes a game, moves on to the next game, usually via Game Pass. Craig is doesn't tend to be someone who has stuff in his backlog. So we'll start with Craig. Is there anything that's on Game Pass already, or that's coming to Game Pass fairly soon that you're you missed out on, or you're you've been meaning to get to, that interests you in any way?
There's that massive dump of games when they officially bought Bethesda. There's a lot there that I would have liked to play, the Arcane games like Prey and Dishonored 2 and the Dishonored Deathly Outsider, stuff that I would want to play if I ever get the chance. I think the kind of the spin-off Wolfensteins, I always get confused with the names on those games.
The Old Blood is the one you have.
That's the one, yeah. So that would be tempting. Also things like Yakuza Like a Dragon I want to give a go. I downloaded that as soon as it came to Game Pass. This game I really want to play, but didn't want to buy because I knew it was turn based and didn't know whether I would necessarily enjoy the turn based combat. So Game Pass is perfect for that, but I also know it's a long ass beast of a game. So we'll see on that one. And it also has the other problem that Lost Judgment obviously came out as well, which would tempt me more, having played Judgment and enjoying that a lot. So yeah, maybe get to those. Just looking at the backlog challenge, the 2 games I haven't played on mine. Thronebreaker, which I think has left Game Pass now, so that is rip for that. That Dream's dead and gone, and Gears Tactics, which I think there's just too much other stuff out that's more exciting.
It's very slow. That's like I've tried a few times with Gears Tactics, and the opening is so slow. And you've got to really like that type of game, I think.
It sounds like it's really long as well, which is the other issue it has.
It's like a 25-30 hour game.
Yeah, if it was like 10 hours, it wouldn't be too bad. It wouldn't be so intimidating. But yeah, maybe I'll get to Gears Tactics at some point, but I cannot imagine that'll be this year. Yeah, that's pretty much it for me in terms of a backlog.
Yeah, I mean, Craig's always the most efficient, right? So we can talk about that. For me, I mean, the decisions I made with the backlog thing at the start was a terrible choice, and my lessons learned. I think I'm pretty much obligated to finish Witcher 3 because of those big beautiful kids. So I'm actually doing pretty well. I'm about a third of the way through that game. I've been slowly chipping away at that game. Every time that I haven't got something to play, I will play like an hour of Witcher 3 and just do a couple side quests, or move the story along a little bit. So I suspect there will be a big push in December, but I will get that done. My backlog is weird, man, because I've just got a lot of games, and I'm really bad for picking up cheap games. And obviously, let's not even consider Game Pass and EA Play and stuff like that, right? Like, just take that off the table for me. And there's still so many games that I just have sat here, and it's and why I'm buying new games, I don't know. Yakuza Like a Dragon is another one, same as Craig. Really like the look of it. Just need to sit there and play it. It's long. Persona 5, I lost all my save. That pissed me off. I want to play that again.
I think I'm going to have to ban you from saying Persona 5. It's not going to happen.
It's so frustrating because I really enjoy what I was playing as well, and it's just you just lose such a big chunk of a game, and you're like, I just don't know if I've got it in me to do it again. The Assassin's Creed series I've been slowly playing through over the last sort of like year and a half, really. I know I've talked on this show and on the show on my channel, stuff like Rogue that I really enjoyed, and obviously I finished Valhalla, and I'm about halfway through 2 of the Ezio collection, which I'm really enjoying. The Ezio games are really good. I can see why people like the series, because obviously I completely missed the Ezio collection, so I jumped in at 3 after 1, so it's a bit of a weird one. But those games, I think I did Freedom Cry as well quite recently, so I would like to give Unity a go at some point. I know that Craig hates it. But
it's a terrible idea.
Every time I watch an Assassin's Creed video, oh man, Unity's really underrated. I just want to try it, like see if I hate it. I really liked Rogue, which people don't like, so I'm curious. Again, there's so many other games that I'm not going to get to that. Kingdom Hearts games I want to get to. I know they're on my list, and they're just long games. Bayonetta I wanted to play. Vanquish I wanted to play. Countless Switch games. I don't even count them anymore because they're just there. They just sit there.
I've seen your physical Switch backlog, and it's
hefty. Yeah, it's hefty. Yeah. It's one of those things I think I need to like intervention myself, like the start of next year. Like literally, like I'm not buying a game for like 6 months. Like gun to my head, I just can't buy a game until I've done one game a month. Like, you know what I mean? And it's like, I know that's not going to happen because I'm going to play Football Manager for 200 hours. You know what I mean? Like, what am I on about? But yeah, that's probably the main things. I'm playing Far Cry 6. I want to finish that soon as I'm off this week, so I'll probably finish that this week. I'm really enjoying it, so I just want to stick with it and get that done. And then what I play after that, who knows? I really need to turn my Xbox on because I just haven't for a while. I wanted to play Back 4 Blood with you and a couple of
get
friends.
on it, baby.
I just haven't had the urge. The big problem I've got with Game Pass, and this is a wider problem, I think, is for someone like me that has a lot of games. It's so guilty to play a Game Pass game. Like, I download a Game Pass game, and I'm like even though it's like Psychonauts 2, right? I started that, and I was quite enjoying it, but I was just like, I've got Sackboy that I've paid 50 odd quid for sat there that I need to play, so I should really play that. And then I've got Mario, which I have the fucking collection that they tricked us into buying, that I need to finish that as well. You know what I mean? So it's like, I'm really weird about stuff like that, just because I have so many physical games. I'm sure if Craig had 70 physical games, he'd be the same, but he's not, because he's better than us, you know? So it's like, Game Pass sometimes falls into that trap for me. Is it going to stop me playing Forza? No, it's not. Is it going to stop you playing Halo? No, it's not. I've already broken and bought Football Manager, so you know, I'll just transfer my save to the Xbox version, get all the achievements. Jobs are good.
Jobs are good indeed.
But yeah, so that's my backloggery madness. One more small piece of backloggery is me and Chris have sort of semi-committed to getting some more platinums. So there may be a bit more of a platinum showcase on the channel at some point. I want my 30th to be my 30th or my 40th. I want to be Sleeping Dogs. So I'm like, because obviously it shows up your like your milestone ones are on your profile, PSN profiles and true trophies, right? So I want my 30th completion to be Sleeping Dogs. So that'll have to get done at some point. Obviously, Chris is just playing absolute trash all the way down. So I just got the Dirt 5 Platinum again. It's embarrassing. Some of Chris's is honestly.
Yeah, I was going to say,
is Chris's Platinums as bad as his Xbox one?
It's worse.
That is all.
It's worse.
Really?
It's worse. Way worse. Yeah.
Oh my god! Because his completions on True Achievements for Xbox are the dirtiest thing you've ever seen.
Like, so if you actually look at Chris's Platinums, how many Platinums have you got, Chris?
44 now.
I would generally, and I hold my hand up here. I would say maybe 6 aren't trash. Is that about fair?
I would say that's about fair.
Honestly, it's like I've got 28, right? And I would say probably at least 15 are like decent, at least. And the ones I'm including as not decent are like Telltale games. You know what I mean? But it's Chris's Platinums are they're dirty.
They are really dirty. I didn't count it in the playing because I don't really.
Because you didn't really play it. You just clicked it for a minute until you got the trophies.
Yeah, because I did unlock 4 platinums this week, so I got to 44 platinums.
You're gonna have to commit that 50's got to be a real game, Chris. 50 needs to be a real game.
And and it actually put my percentage up. My completion, I think, on True Trophies is 37%. So that's quite high because compared to my Xbox One, it's like 30.
Oh yeah, but it's high because you've got 100% of trash, Chris. That's that's really the problem. But yeah, you'll have to get a commitment out of you for an actual proper game for game 50. An actual. I don't mean like a 4-hour game. I mean like at least a 10-hour game. You have to maybe play to a level of skill to get to, perhaps. Because Sleeping Dogs is going to take me a while because there's some shitty trophies in that game. But I'll get it done.
Yeah.
I'll stream it.
What you're saying is the next 5 can all be trash.
I mean, it's your life. If that's what you want to do with it, then go ahead. But I mean, there's got to be some Telltale games or like some Miles Morales is going to be pretty easy, right? Surely you can get that. Astro is pretty easy.
Astro.
You can just borrow my copy of Miles Morales. That's fine.
Astro is definitely one.
You need to get that platinum. It's easy, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. There is a few Telltale games, but I've played most of them on PlayStation. It's like the 4th season of Walking Dead. I didn't play that.
I'll tell you what I want you to do, Chris, okay? This is a social experiment for next week. I want you to look through your games that you have access to on PlayStation. And I want you to find me 5 options. And we will pick the game 50.
I was thinking Control number
that
50.
Can be one of the options. Find us 5 options and maybe we'll pick some for you and see what we get.
I don't know how difficult Control is.
I got like 800 of the game score.
I don't think it's massive. I think it's one that doesn't have like a difficulty one because that's what Chris is not playing a game twice, and he's not playing a game that he's got to play hard mode or any multiplayer. So you need to take that out straight away. So there's your list. That's why the only exception is going to be Miles Morales because it's so short that New Game Plus is not really a problem. Like you can do New Game Plus in about 5 hours, I think, if you just skip the cutscenes. So you'll be so overpowered.
Control is quite doable actually. The only 2 I missed on Xbox was the 25 board countermeasures and the 5 brewery alerts, which are just grinding basically, but doable.
Chris can do grinding, that's fine.
Yeah, I thought you had the 1000G in it.
Not on Control, no. Just missing those 2.
Now the big dick move would be one of the Metal Gear games that Chris allegedly likes, but I don't think he's got that in him. Or Final Fantasy. But
Chris definitely doesn't have that in him, Craig.
He's 2 trophies away from Type 0.
Oh yeah, no.
Or Persona 5 Royal, which is actually quite a doable platinum.
Yeah, but then I have to
Banned.
put a guide to that. I
Banned.
don't like it. I'll play that.
I mean,
play
you
that
could
game
get Dirt
too.
5. I've done it twice. I've done it 3
Mm.
times, actually, if we're going to play that game.
Yeah.
2.9% of people. At least
Chris is not going to rubber band his
least
controller.
0.1% of that is me. You know what? With the PS5, I didn't rubber band it once.
Mm.
I played
do it
all the
DLC.
DLCs,
Yeah.
and then I played like a load of like arcades until it was done. Dirt 5, boys, is the future. Right, so we've got the commitment out, Chris.
Yeah.
Chris,
Yeah.
talk some backlog.
50.
Talk some
Yeah,
backlog.
my
with us.
backlog, like you, are a ridiculous physical collection, so I could be anything. There's a couple. 'Cause I was thinking more for the end of the year, what I want to play when we do Game of the Year chat. Ratchet and Clank, Rift Apart. Like, it's a game I basically bought my PS5 for, and I've not played it. So it's like the big one in the backlog. Is that?
Have you played any of it, or have you just not touched it?
I played like half an hour of it. Like the half an hour I played is
I haven't even looked at it.
like really good, but I definitely need to get to that. And same with Kino Bridge of Spirits. You know, I'm like 5 or 6 hours in, so I'm a good chunk into it. And then it was like quite an expensive download, so that's like the 2 that I really want to get done before the end of the year. Like I said, Ratchet, because of Game of the Year chat. Ratchet, because the reason I bought a PS5 sort of thing. And I kind of still want to play Resident Evil Village as well, which obviously
I need to give you my copy
Yeah.
of that. Remind me of that next time I see you.
That's another one, because talked about it like the start of the year looked good from like the trailers and stuff, but the mishap at the time where they sent me a PS5 copy instead of an Xbox copy, and I've just not got around to giving it a go. And it's another one that the end of the year could be something in that realms of chatting about. Of course, this stuff. I got others like Metroid Dread. I could add it, but it's what I'm currently playing. House of Ashes, and be 4 hours long.
Skyward Sword.
That was it.
Tilly Riser.
Well, you've got
Bravely
name you some games from your list. You've got Hyrule Warriors.
Yeah.
Nier.
Definitely not. Definitely not.
Super Mario Galaxy.
I mean, surely you could. That's not that long, right? You could do that.
Well, Super Mario Galaxy.
Yeah.
And Yakuza Like a Dragon are the 4.
Definitely not. Wow, I'm glad that my list is almost as like Chris is almost as bad as mine. Mine's awful. Like I know how bad mine is.
Next year I might bring in a rule if we do a backlog challenge that you two aren't allowed Japanese games.
Or we're allowed one instead of 5.
We're allowed 1 Japanese.
Yeah. So that's really, and like I said, upcoming games. Forza I play, Halo I play for for a Game Pass, and that. I guess the backlog one I could commit to now, even though it's coming, finish it before the end of the year, would be Shin Megami Tensei 5.
It's not really backlog though, is it?
No,
it's coming out soon.
Yeah.
Are you committing to finishing that as well? Because that is.
I kind of feel like that game's not going to be very good. I don't know what there's something about it, and I'm like, it doesn't feel right. Like no one seems to give a shit.
It looks like the most JRPG of JRPGs.
Well, it was Shin Megami Tensei. It is the most JRPG of JRPG, but it's like usually there's people excited about that, and like 3 came out, the remaster, and like no one played it. People are like, oh yeah, it's hard. Like we all said on the podcast, it was going to be hard, and then no one really played it. So I don't know. I think people like Persona. I don't think people really give a shit about SMT, especially because Pokemon's coming out the same day.
44 hours as well, Chris. Apparently,
which is quite short for what it is. But I'd be interested. I would be very surprised if you one enjoyed it and one finished it. Doesn't it come out the same day as Pokemon as well?
No, it comes out the week before Pokemon.
Right, and like and you're going to buy Pokemon, right? Because you got a Switch.
Yeah.
So like, I don't see it.
Yeah,
you could commit. You could commit to playing Pokemon because I think you'll get that done. I'll get that done in like a week. Like, it's not a problem.
Yeah. With Pokemon. Yeah, I think I got 3 games pre-ordered, and they're all Switch games. It's Pokemon, Shin Megami Tensei, and one was Advance Wars, which has been delayed.
So. I think I'm getting Mario Party next week, whenever, because the wife's buying it, and I'm gonna play the fuck out of it because I love Mario Party. I suppose the one more thing to talk about with backlog then, Chris. Actually, that moves us nicely. The Switch Online expansion. Are we going to play anything off that? I'm kind of tempted to play Ocarina of Time because I haven't played that game since it came out.
Yeah, that's the thing. That could be just distracting because obviously paying for the upgrade for that, and there's like all these games, and like I've not played Sin and Punishment, as in the N64 Sin and Punishment. I've played the one that was on. Was it
The
on
Wii.
Wii?
Yeah, it was
As
a
a
Wii game.
sequel, number 2. I've not played the first one. I really want to play that. So just like, this is the thing. It's going to be, I got these new fancy, games, and what are you playing? Sin and Punishment on the N64.
Yeah, I mean, it's a shame that F-Zero X isn't one of the launch ones, because that would be, because I have had the urge to play that for a while, because I just miss F-Zero. They just haven't, like, the one on GameCube is like one of my favorite games of all time, and I know X is pretty good. The thought of playing that online as well is like very exciting. Mario Kart 64 I'll play once through, and then every time Craig will come over he'll play it. That's what will happen with Mario Kart. So that is what it is. Mario 64 I own physically anyway, like whatever.
Yeah.
And then obviously as soon as we get Paper Mario, as soon as we get Majora's Mask, and as soon as we get Banjo-Kazooie, they're games that I really, like, genuinely want to play, and the thought of playing them handheld is actually amazing. I still don't know why people are kicking off about the price. But there you go.
I've seen so much of that. Like,
yeah, I don't
YouTube
get it.
videos.
I don't get it, man. Nintendo fans just moan about every. I know in America it's slightly more expensive, so it's $50 and it's just £35 for us. But like, how much is the GTA? It's $55, I think, for the GTA games, for the trilogy on disc, and everyone's gonna buy that, right? Everyone's gonna be like sucking that off. That'll be in the top 10 charts for ages. So okay. Yeah, does that trilogy tempt any of you?
Not particularly.
No.
You're going to play San Andreas via Game Pass, right, Craig? Probably.
Maybe. I don't know. No, honestly, it depends when it comes out.
It's probably the least I want to play of all the three, annoyingly. I'd rather play Vice City every day of the week than San Andreas.
I mean, I never played San Andreas to start with, so
it's pretty good.
Yeah, it'd be a new experience for me. But like I said before, when we talked about them, I would have much preferred they just focused on one and did a full remake as opposed to just kind of remastering them like that.
It's weird because it looks like even more of a halfway house than a remaster. Like, 'cause it looks like it's visually quite heavily improved, but it keeps the same art style, which is strange. It looks kind of semi-retro. But I mean, the thing for me is what I said when it got leaked. It's the controls. If it controls like GTA 5, which that's what they're saying it does, then that's very tempting. Because the biggest I went back fairly recently to 3, and I loved everything about the game apart from how it controlled. So, because it just felt like a game from, it's just all the buttons, like you shoot with circle and all the weird stuff that we didn't know. You know what I mean? We didn't know in 2002 or whatever. So,
yeah, because like I said, I was watching the Kind of Funny play Metal Gear and stuff like that. Like Barrett, like having issues with Metal Gear Solid 3.
The awful control scheme that they went for.
Because of the controls, like you're saying, that you use square to fire and stuff.
Yeah, and like especially on PlayStation, because a lot of PlayStation games they wouldn't use the rear bumpers because they were bumpers, not triggers. So like on the PS3, it was a real big problem where you would aim with you'd aim with left bumper and shoot with right bumper. Craig is basically the way I describe that, because the triggers weren't really triggers. It was terrible. It was an
that sounds awful.
Yeah, and it's again, it's a quirk of the time, and I think now everything's very standardized. Like, people that grow up now have the best range for games. Everything is pretty standardized. Nintendo, Xbox, PlayStation, all basically the same. The controllers are all basically the same now. It's not like 10, 15 years ago where you'd have the fucking 6-axis that was terrible, and then a Wiimote, and then a 360 controller, and then God knows what else, a DS with touch controls and all the Kinect and all this bollocks. You know what I mean? It's pretty. You have a controller, you just play a game now. So it's pretty cool. And it's cool that now they're bringing games like GTA, which, let's be honest, I mean, San Andreas came out in 2005, right, Chris? I think it was one of the end PS2 and original Xbox games. You think those games are retro now? You know what I mean? It's happened. I said it would happen. Hang on, I got to pause.